to management of IBEDC and its outsourcing firm to renegotiate a mass sacking of over 3,000 outsourced staff. From the international scene, 4 people are killed and 6 injured in South Korea after elevated parts of a highway under construction collapsed on Tuesday. Details of these and more coming your way soon. Do stay with us. Many thanks for joining us at this time. Now details of the news. The National Assembly has continued to come up with tax law that will outlive the administration of President Bola Tinubu, thereby calling for the cooperation of all stakeholders. Recall that the Senate Committee on Finance on Monday commenced a 2-day public hearing on the proposed tax bills. Speaking with journalists on the ongoing exercise, the chairman of the committee, Senator Sani Musa, lauded the contributions of all stakeholders at the event, promising that the National Assembly remains resolute in coming up with a law that will be fair to all. Correspondent Kunle Ojo reports that a member of the committee, Senator Abdul Ninge from Bauchi Central, said the bill has assumed a national dimension with keen interest from all Nigerians.
That wants to speak was given the opportunity to speak, and we have seen a lot of people that spoke in alignment with what Mr. President has presented to the National Assembly, and also a few of them that had some divergent opinions have also presented their case, and we are going to consider everyone that was there.
You see, a lot of things are actually misrepresented. There was no objection from the Northern group on the introduction of the bill. The first point of reservations was, of course, from the governors.
On the initial resistance to the bill from some sections in the north, Senator Ninge dismissed the insinuation, stressing that what they were after then was for a wider consultation on the bill. The chairman of the committee added that the National Assembly will embark on broad consultation and thereafter organize a retreat where diverse issues on the bill will be discussed.
All living witnesses to what happened at the public hearing yesterday, the tax reform has taken a national action. There were reservations in quite a number of clauses. That has to do with state fund.
Taking the advice of everyone that had made the presentation, we are going to consider everything on its own merit. We are not particularly looking at which organization or which entity presents, but what is going to be acceptable to all Nigerians, what is going to be acceptable to all regions of this country.
The Nigerian Senate on Tuesday commenced a probe of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan conduct during plenary last Thursday by referring to issues of its Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct and Public Petitions. The issue began when Senator Yemi Adaramodu, chairman of the Senate Committee on Media and Publicity, raised a point of order. He expressed concern about misleading media reports regarding the event that unfolded in the Senate last week. Correspondent Kunle Ojo reports that Adaramodu emphasized the need to protect the integrity and future of the Senate.
A section of the public, and I'm narrowing it to Mr. Senate President versus the Senator, which is not so, because our guiding rules, which is our testament and our catechism, our own Bible and our own Quran, which we all subscribe to religiously, embodies and epitomizes the whole Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Any action against it is an action against the Senate. It's not an action against the Senate President.
The Senate leader, Okpeyemi Bamidele, Minority Leader Abba Moro and Senator Jima Ibrahim, among others, lamented the conduct displayed by Akpoti-Uduaghan on the fateful day and recommended that the matter be referred to its appropriate organ for further investigation.
The back seat, but I can lend my voice. In fact, Mr. Senate President, the former Senate President, very distinguished Senator Ahmed Lawal, is at the very back seat after my own. Look at my own seat. Look at his own seat. And he's not complaining. He will raise up his hand with respect here, and will still go there to bow for his respect because he's a man of integrity. So what can somebody say? Can anybody be at the back seat more than him?
Simi Ulabalu about one of our colleagues, Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan, being asked to move to another seat. It's nothing that has to do with gender. It's nothing that has to do with hatred. It's nothing that has to do with any form of malice. For the record,
we see you as first one among equals, but the presiding officer of this Senate, and therefore the father of this Senate. In spite of some provocations, in spite of some offenses, Mr. President.
President of the Senate, Godswill Fabio, reminded lawmakers of the importance of adhering to Senate rules, citing Order 66 subsection 2 and Section 55 of Senate rules. He underscored that all senators must conduct themselves with decorum, including prohibitions on chewing gum, drinking water, or being disruptive during sittings.
Issue came up here. Our distinguished sister was not even speaking from her seat. And that was when we tried to call her to order. I think part of the problem is when people come from court declared senators, they miss the orientation. The management of the National Assembly is hereby ordered to organize periodic orientation, particularly for senators who are midstreamers, who can midstream and did not.
Senators voted to approve that the issue be referred to the Ethics Committee for investigation and to report back to the Senate in 2 weeks.
By consensus, the Senate leader has moved a motion and has been seconded. Those in support that the disorderly conduct of our colleague, distinguished Senator Natasha Uduaghan, be referred to the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges for necessary further action. Say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So the matter is hereby referred to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges.
Now moving to the Green Chambers, Chairman of the House Committee on Disability Matters, Honorable Bashir Daudu, has called for tax exemptions for people with disabilities and tax relief for companies employing or manufacturing facilities for them. He made the appeal during the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding by persons with disability in Abuja. Stated that while his committee supports the tax reform bills, they are aware of gaps in the legislation and will advocate for tax credits and waivers for companies producing equipment for PWDs. He also proposed scholarships for special education teachers and the establishment of a disability trust fund to support PWDs. He criticized the poor implementation of the 2018 Disability Act, which includes provisions for accessible public buildings, transportation terminals, and educational and health facilities. He noted that the act is only domesticated in 22 states, urging others to do the same. Daudu also expressed concern about the inadequate budget allocation of approximately 2 billion naira to the Disability Commission, arguing that it reflects the government's insufficient commitment to supporting PWDs. Valentine Ogochukwu Zion, director of PWD's Potential Unleashed project, highlighted that the MOU includes initiative for nationwide medical access, talent discovery, a reality TV show showcasing PWD's results, and an inclusive musical concert.
So observe that the commission that is saddled with doing this immense work of taking care of 35 million Nigerians received a very small budget. of 2 billion. That says a lot. It is important to recognize that the way you allocate your resources to your budget shows how you want to treat your people. And societies are now going to be measured by how many rich people that you have, but how well you take care of your vulnerable ones.
Talent discovery and development project that will go from state to state in alphabetic order to discover people within these PWD communities that are very gifted in the area of the creative industries. So as a result of that, we came up with this project so that people can see the potentials in them, their gifts, and the resilience in them.
Speaker of House of Representatives Honorable Abbas Tajuddin has expressed support for a bill to establish the Nigerian Security and Intelligence Trust Fund. The bill seeks to provide additional financial support for security needs beyond regular budget allocations, enhancing the capacity of Nigeria's security and intelligence agencies to safeguard lives and properties. Correspondent Nabuchi Nabuchi sent in this report.
At a public hearing on the bill, the Speaker, represented by Chairman of House Committee on Power, Honorable Victor Nwokolo, emphasized that security is crucial for national development, investment attraction, and youth empowerment. He noted that issues such as banditry, kidnapping, armed robbery, and insurgency have discouraged investment, displaced communities, and contributed to food shortages.
Aims to boost the capacity of Nigerian security and intelligence architecture to effectively pursue the constitutional mandate of the security of lives and property, which is a primary responsibility of the government. As you are aware, the security of life and property is a very vital nation-building tool. It is most effective instrument in attracting investment and ensuring the development of our country. Therefore, the importance of security cannot be overemphasized.
Chairman of the Committee on National Security and Intelligence, Honorable Hamid Satomi, explained that the proposed fund would be used for training and retraining security personnel, upgrading security institutions to global standards, and supporting research and development. He highlighted that Nigeria's security agencies have been underfunded, with most resources focused on military responses. Satomi urged President Bola Tinubu to approve the trust fund and advocated for a more comprehensive security strategy that includes enhanced intelligence gathering.
Funds will be deployed to the training and retraining of personnel of Nigerian security agencies. Provision of the state-of-the-art security and intelligence equipment and other necessary infrastructure-related facilities for the enhancement of the technical competency and operational readiness of our security personnel in all areas of their operation. Furthermore, the funds will ensure the upgrade and maintenance of the training institution to global standards, make resources available for research and development, including the utilization of outcome of such research to bring the intelligence agencies.
While some security agencies at the hearing did not make public statements, they confirmed submitting their input to the Secretariat and expressed support for the discussion. Femi Edgar, Acting Director of the Tax Policy and Advisory Department of the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS), supported the bill but emphasized the need for balanced tax policies. He explained that tax laws requires all entities, including private and government-owned organizations, to register for tax purposes and comply with pay-as-you-earn obligations. He clarified that the trust fund would function like other government agencies.
The issues of tax, just wanted to highlight, sir, because the language says that the fund shall be, as it were, exempt from all the provisions of tax laws. We just wanted to highlight that, that might need to be moderated, because, for instance, sir, the tax laws provide a number of obligations. It's not only to pay tax. The tax law provides an obligation for entities to register for tax purposes, provides obligation for entities whether they are private or government owned, to render the returns of the pay-as-you-earn of their staff.
Agencies present at the hearing included the Nigeria Immigration Service (NIS), Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), Department of State Services (DSS), Nigeria Customs Service, Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS), Nigeria Police Force (NPF), Police Service Commission (PSC), Security and Exchange Commission (SAC), Independent Corrupt Practices Commission (ICPC), and the Armed Forces, among others.
Senator representing Abia North Orji Uzor Kalu has asked Nigeria's former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida IBB to write a second edition of his autobiography during his service and mention the names of those who stopped him from declaring Moshood Abiola winner of the June 12 presidential 1993 election. Speaking to journalists in Abuja on Tuesday, Kalu said IBB should name the accomplices to his second-in-command, late General Sani Abacha, and the chairman of the National Election Commission, Humphrey Nwosu, so that Nigerians will know the role they all played, so that it would not look as if he lied. For the first time in 32 years, IBB admits in his autobiography, now highly debated book, that MKO Abiola, candidate of the Social Democratic Party SDP, won the announced election. Correspondent Kunle Ojo reports that Kalu also asked President Bola Tinubu to swear MKO in posthumously, and this picture was allowed to hang in the Hall of Fame of former presidents of the country.
Babangida is my master, and everybody knows, and I'm going to visit him very soon. I'm going to discuss, but I'm waiting for second edition of that book, because the first edition did not bring out all the realities of what happened, especially when they concerned Professor Humphrey Nwosu and the INEC and why it was. Babangida should tell those, call by names, not only Abacha, call by names.
In the race for 2027, Kalu said his party is not shopping for any other candidate apart from the sitting president Bola Tinubu, who he said he has no doubt will win a second term.
Back to agriculture, so we can have the effect of the reform very fast. The effects of the reform are very fast coming, but we need to go massively. Dashing of money should stop. We should give the money to agriculture. We should give the money to things that makes meaning. But the good news is that we will win again in 2027. President Tinubu will return.
Thank you.
And you people will jubilate with us.
Now to other stories, the speakership crisis rocking the legacy House of Assembly might be resolved soon, as the intervention of heavyweights in the All Progressive Congress may be leading to a headway. The impeached Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, and the current Speaker, Mojisola Miranda, might be stepping aside for another lawmaker to lead the House. The development follows the intervention of the APC bigwigs, notably former governors of Osun, Ogun, and Lagos states, namely Chief Bisi Akande, Segun Osoba, and Akinwumi Ambode, respectively, among others. The high-powered APC delegation was directed by President Bola Tinubu to resolve the political tension at the Lagos Assembly, following the inability of the Governor's Advisory Council to find a solution. The crisis began at the House on January 13, 2025, when about 36 lawmakers removed Obasa as Speaker and replaced him with Miranda, the then Deputy Speaker. Over 90% of the lawmakers accused the impeached Speaker of poor leadership style, perpetual lateness to legislative sections and plenary, high-handedness and disregard for colleague lawmakers and the executive, especially the governor, abuse of office and privileges, intimidation and oppression of members, misappropriation, among others. Obasa was away in Atlanta, United States, when he was removed, had seen his faulted his removal and insisted he was still the Speaker, even as his colleagues in the House remained adamant. You're still on to the news in Galaxy TV. Coming up next. Sabo Yaba Magistrate Court discharges Naira Marley and his ally Sam Larry in connection with the death of Nigerian artist Mohbad. Details of that and more coming up today. Do stay with us. We are glad to have you back. Now for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page, Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments, as you can easily scan our IG QR code. The Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment has issued a 7-day ultimatum to the management of Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company (IBEDC) and its outsourcing firm to renegotiate on the March sacking of over 3,000 outsourced staff. This directive followed the agitation raised by Nigeria Labour Congress NLC Oyo State Council, led by its chairman, Comrade Kayode Martins, against mass sacking, noting that it does not follow due process. Oyo State Controller, Ministry of Labour and Employment, Festus Igbiosho, made this known at the resolution meeting between management of IBEDC, NLC, the outsourcing firm, and the aggrieved sacked staff. He said that resolving the issue within the time frame would strengthen the industrial harmony in the state. While reacting, Comrade Martins lauded the decision of the ministry but urged the management of IBEDC and its outsourcing firm to reinstate the sacked staff in the period of renegotiation to guarantee industrial harmony.
The meeting, parties involved, IBEDC management were invited, the service provider was also invited, and NNC was also in attendance for the meeting, and the concerned staff. But at the end for today's meeting, thank God it was successful, because both parties will now resolve that we'll go home to do the needful concerning those particular staff. So I'm in short, I'm really happy for the conduct of today's meeting.
Foremost, all the workers laid off in the course of this struggle be absorbed. Then we are ready to go into negotiation at the round table, what they can put on the table and whatever the workers can do, so that we have peace at both ends. We've been able to resolve that today.
The management of IBEDC and its outsourcing firm agreed to hold a renegotiated meeting concerning the issues within the time given by the ministry, while urging to be given enough time for the management to come up with a position on the issues raised.
Primarily here is between PIPLL, who is the employer, and the staff. So I'm a bit sorry when you're reading out the petition and it says IBEDC, because IBEDC doesn't have any relationship with staff. The existing relationship is strictly between IBEDC and PIPLL. So if PIPLL and the staff have issues, I would expect that if Labour will then intervene.
But the constraint might be that issues like this, they are a process, just like we are talking about. It's not something that one person, even within the system, within my own system, one person cannot take this decision. Talk less of a big edifice like IBEDC. So basically, I want to appeal to the Labour to look at it.
Now to the story teased earlier. As Sabo Yaba Magistrate Court on Tuesday discharged Abdulaziz Fashola, also known as Naira Marley, and his ally Samson Eletu, also known as Sam Larry, in connection with the death of a Nigerian artist Ilerioluwa Loba, well known as Mohbad. The court said instead it was a nurse Feyi Ogedengbe and Ayoba Sadiq that should be prosecuted for Mohbad's death due to alleged recklessness and negligence. The magistrate said the DPP had advised the court to strike out the names of Naira Marley, Sam Larry, Owoduni Ibrahim, well known as Brown Boy, and Mohbad's manager, Babatunde Okwere, for lack of evidence linking them to the death of Mohbad. Kubenije said that the DPP are the prima facie case of the offence of recklessness and negligence act, contrary to Section 251, subsection E of the Criminal Laws of Lagos State 2015 against Ogedengbe and Sadiq respectively. On the assault case against Naira Marley, Kubenije said Mohbad had previously withdrawn his complaint against Naira Marley on October 11, 2022 on the grounds that the matter had been settled amicably. According to her, as the defendants had no case to answer, the court thereafter ruled that Ogedengbe and Sadiq should be prosecuted for the offence of recklessness and negligence, which is contrary to Section 251, subsection E of the Criminal Laws of Lagos State 2015. Moving on to other stories, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has announced that since the registration began on February 3rd, over 1.5 million candidates have successfully registered. The examination body has, however, declared that registration for the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME) will close on March 8, 2025, with no possibility of an extension. In a statement issued in Abuja, JAMB spokesperson Fabian Benjamin emphasized that the deadline was clearly stated in all advertisement and the official 2025 UTME calendar. He urged prospective candidates to avoid last-minute delays and register promptly. JAMB noted that its calendar is fixed with tightly scheduled activities such as examination, result processing, and admissions. It maintained that extending the registration deadline would destroy these plans as well as those of partner agencies and therefore encourage candidates to complete their registration within the specified time frame to ensure participation in the 2025 UTME. The board highlighted this achievement as evidence of the registration system's efficiency, stating that there is no need for an extension. Following the announcement made by Central Bank of Nigeria on a new upward review of ATM withdrawal charges recently, the directive has sparked mixed feelings. Galaxy TV's Matthew E. Jabiken was on the street to get reactions on what it means to Nigerians. The report.
On the 10th of February 2025, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, announced that with effect from 1st of March 2025, withdrawals made at automated teller machines, ATM, owned by a bank outside its branch premises will now attract a charge of 100 naira per 20,000 naira. Withdrawals at shopping centers, airports, or stand-alone cash points will incur a 100 naira fee plus a surcharge up to 500 naira per 20,000 naira withdrawal. Nigerians who are everyday ATM users have this to say.
Yes, you will withdraw money, it will be deducted from you. That is at that level. But you know, it will also have an upward charges also for those who do POS. Like now, when the POS people are collecting 5,000 naira, an ATM, when you do 3 withdrawals, is 35 naira. Now you discover that the POS people now, their own will increase. Already they have increased it, yet because they, even though it has not been implemented, but they have increased years now. Some are no longer collecting 500 naira for 5,000. Some are collecting 150, others are collecting 200 naira. And by the time you know it will also increase, the cost of things.
We just have to everybody to start withdrawing from their own bank. For example, I just made a withdrawal now, so that means they charged me 100 naira because I didn't know. Anyways, I didn't withdraw up to that, but that means we would tend to minimize the way we withdraw, or maybe we resort to over-the-counter withdrawal.
As regard to the ATM increase, is totally condemned. It's an addition to the sufferings of Nigeria, even by saying that the highest money you can take is 20,000. 20,000 cannot cook a pot of soup in Nigeria. So the government has to look into the situation of this country very well. Before the country will catch fire. When it catch fire, it will be difficult to put off.
A financial expert, Segun Sokwiton, shares a professional perspective on the effect the development will have on society.
A lot of times in Nigeria, we hear things and we don't actually look into the details before we react. What caught my attention was 100 naira for every 20,000. That's significant. It's not, the CBN will not throw words around carelessly. It means 100 naira per 20,000. So if I'm withdrawing, I will not pay up to 100 naira if I'm not withdrawing up to 20,000 naira. That's what it means. So for a lot of people, this would actually result in a lower transaction, lower cash withdrawal cost if you are withdrawing from ATMs. So hopefully, once people realize, I don't think people realize it yet. I don't think people realize this. So you can try, just go to an ATM.
It's a good decision.
It's a good thing.
Cashless policy.
It's a good way. What the CBN has done with that is to drive people back to the ATMs and away from POS. That's what they're trying to do. And that's why you remember that they sanctioned 9 banks recently for not loading their ATM machines with cash. So they're trying to revive ATM machines in bank premises was dying. It was a dying source channel of access to cash. Most banks, you can't get cash from their ATMs until CBN intervention. So I think what the CBN is doing is trying to push people back to the ATM machines, and I think it's a good initiative. It will actually, this is a reduction in cost of cash withdrawal. It's just that we don't see it. People are seeing it as an increment. Just check it. I would encourage everybody, test what I'm saying, go to an ATM, withdraw 5,000, and check how much they debit you. You'll find that it will not be up to 100. For me, the CBN should have done a better job of explaining this to the public. Because I think if people understand it, they will not go to POS operators anymore. The POS operators should be backup. They should be that, I couldn't get cash in an ATM and I need cash desperately, so I go to POS. Not right now. What is happening is that the POS operator is the primary tonto. People go to POS operator first.
Will this decision by CBN really better the society? Well, time will tell. Matthew E. Jabike, Galaxy TV News, Lagos.
To other stories, fire on Tuesday gutted some shops in the Ladigbo market, destroying goods worth millions of naira. The Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Olufemi Okeosanyintolu, confirmed this in a statement made available to newsmen on Tuesday. He said that the agency received distress call through its emergency toll-free line at about 9 minutes past 12 a.m. concerning the fire outbreak. The SEMA immediately activated the state's emergency response plan and response team from its Kappa base. Upon arrival at the scene of the incident, it was discovered that a warehouse surrounded by shops were gutted by fire. Investigation revealed that the inferno was caused by an electric power surge after public electricity power supply was restored to the area, he said. Okeosanyintolu said that there was no record of injury or loss of life during the incident. Valuable goods worth a fortune were, however, destroyed by the inferno, he added. The National President, Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, has reiterated about this commitment to enhancing road safety through collaboration with the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC. He said the partnership would include the establishment of a specialized driving training school in Ogun State. The National President spoke in Abeokuta, Ogun State, during the 10th Delegate Conference of the State Branch of RTEAN. At the conference, the State Chairman, Titilayo Akibo, and the Secretary, Tiwalade Akingbade, were re-elected and sworn in alongside other executive members for another term of 5 years. In his address, the National President urged members of the association to distinguish themselves as responsible members of the public and live up to the good name given to the association by the founding fathers.
Obey, someone will not obey you. But with your advice, we will collaborate with you to make sure in Ogun State we have a training school for driving. We collaborate with you. We are not touts. We are not hooligans. A woman that is selling tomatoes, pepper in a market, they are giving her respect.
Speaking with newsmen, the secretary applauded the chairman's performance during his first term, attributing his re-election to the positive impact witnessed across RTA and its operation in Ogun State. Akinbade underscored the importance of continuity in consolidating the gains made under Akibu's leadership, citing improvement in park management and the operational standard as key achievements.
And what we are bringing in the second term of his tenure is to consolidate what we have done in the first term. And as you can see and as you can hear from all the angles, the people that were testifying, the testimony that they were giving, our partners, the road safety corps, the trace, the service chiefs, what they have been saying about Richard Ogun State branch.
You're still under the news on Galaxy TV. Let's go on a break. When we come back, the news continues. Stay with us. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, moving on with the rest of the stories. The Nigerian Defense Academy (NDA) has informed the people of Afaka, Kauya and Mando, Kaduna State of a shooting exercise, which is part of the advanced application of fire package for the Army of the 72 regular course. It is slated to take place on the 26th of February or through the 1st of March and will involve live firing arms. Maidawa has called on pedestrians, catereras, farmers and all to ensure they avoid these places during the period of the exercise, albeit warning signs have been mounted around the areas as well as barriers to notify the people that the areas are restricted. Despite these safety measures, NDA is pleading with the people of Afaka, Kauya and Mando and its surrounding communities to aid to the warnings to prevent any armed casualties and also for a successful training shooting exercise. The Anambra State Police Command says it has extended the search for the killers of the lawmaker representing Onitsha 1 constituency in the State House of Assembly, Honorable Justice Azuka. The command, in a statement by its spokesperson Tochukwu Ikenga, said the search for the lawmaker killers has been extended to neighboring Delta and Enugu State. According to the police, some of the arrested suspects have been cooperating with the police in ensuring that the fleeing suspects are arrested and brought to face the full wrath of the law. Meanwhile, the Anambra State Police Commissioner, CP Ikio Yorutugo, promised to ensure that the trust reposed in the State Police Command by the governor's Soludo-led administration is not betrayed. Hence, the charge on the tactical team of the command to arrest the fleeing suspects who killed the lawmaker. As part of measures to ensure that youth do not engage in drugs and illegalities that will jeopardize their future, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) has organized a one-day lecture tagged Future Summit to sensitize school children on the dangers of drugs. Our correspondent Dele Fasson completes the story.
The war against drugs abuse by the NDLEA in Auchi, Edo State brought together secondary school students as well as resource persons who dwell on the dangers of drug abuse. The NDLEA area commander in Auchi, Timothy Nku, was represented by the Assistant Superintendent of Narcotics, Issa Danladi Umar, stressed on the dangers of drug abuse, among others.
The cigarette you see contains what we call formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is a chemical that is used to sample the purpose of the environment. When somebody dies, they use formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is a chemical which preserves the body from getting rotten. Then it is in cigarette, and as soon as serious coding is socially acceptable.
A convener and some resource persons also stressed on the coming together of the students in ensuring that the message of war against drug abuse is taken to the grassroots.
Because of how society has really deteriorated when it comes to youth. And you find a lot of young people, abusing drugs and all of that. And you think of, okay, how best can I reach out to the next generation? And the next best option was also to get secondary school students, those necessary that are transitioning into university anytime from now. And how can we help these children go towards the right path by having programs like this? Empowering, educating, teaching them, mentoring them at the same time, also offering solutions to them.
Bulk of the problem that our children are having today is peer pressure. And how do you handle peer pressure as a parent? Is for you to constantly tell your child that nobody is better than he or she. Letting them know that he has special talent. Also not comparing your children to other people's children. We parents, we're fond of this thing. See John take first, why you not take first? It damages children. Like if your house is too hot for you, where do you now find solution? You find it under drugs and under whatever influence. So for me, I think parents are doing bulk damage to the children when they compare them to other people's children. That's number one.
What I'm telling you is that instead of sitting back and complaining all the time, they should think about how they can create something that will sustain their future. Something that will benefit not only themselves, but also the community and their fellow youths. And this is the time to start.
Meanwhile, with a collective effort in taking the fight against drug abuse to the next level, the government must also play its role in the sensitization of its citizens. From Edo State, Telephone reporting for Galaxy TV News.
Still on security, Edo State Governor Monday Okpebholo on Tuesday condemned the recent attacks in the state, which he said has claimed 24 lives. The first blast, which was said to have claimed 22 lives as against the 7 reported by the Edo State Police Command, was between cocoa farmers and some alleged produce thieves in the agrarian community of Bilimotin in Ovia Southwest local government area of Edo State. The clash started last Thursday night and escalated on Friday morning. Those believed to be sympathetic to those killed in Thursday night fight mobilized and launched a counter-attack on Friday morning, which led to more killings. In the second incident, 2 residents of the Okwekwe community in Esako East local government area of the state, Batiemu Philip Ebo and Christopher Bello, were reportedly killed on Monday by suspected others. In a statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Freddy Tua, said that the government of the state will not tolerate any form of violence and promised to bring perpetrators of the dastardly act to book. The Edo State government has presented checks to families of late civil servants who died in active service in the state. This is coming after the state governor, Monday Okpebholo, ordered immediate payment to the deceased families to cushion the effect of economic hardship. Presenting the checks, the head of Edo State Civil Service, Dr. Anthony Okungboa, said the presentation is part of the governor's commitment to the welfare of the people. Speaking on behalf of the beneficiaries, the deceased son expressed appreciation to the Edo State government.
On behalf of His Excellency Mr. Governor, we welcome the families of our deceased colleagues to the office of the head of service this morning. As you have already been informed, what we are doing today is a signal concerning Mr. Governor's intention with regard to the welfare of the workforce. This is very, very important for Mr. Governor. Mr. Governor believes very strongly that a workforce that is taken care of is a workforce that will deliver.
Well, I want to say a very big thank you to the government for recognition on behalf of everyone that is here that has benefited from this welfare scheme. We really appreciate the efforts of our parents that were recognized, and also the fact that the government has looked into the welfare of the families. We appreciate everything, and we hope that long live Edo State forever. Thank you.
Now we move to the international desk for more news.
This is news from the international scene. 4 people were killed and 6 were injured in South Korea after elevated part of a highway under construction collapsed on Tuesday, fire authorities said. The National Fire Agency said 10 people were working on the site in the city of Anseong, about 65 kilometers south of the capital Seoul. The accident took place at 9:49 a.m. when 550-meter steel structure supporting the highway bridge collapsed, trapping the workers in the rubble. The cause of the collapse was not immediately known. The Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport said it dispatched a team of officials to the scene. Hyundai Engineering, the builder of the site, apologized for the loss of lives and injuries. Acting President Choi Sang-mok called to mobilize all available personnel and to ensure safety measures to prevent further damage. He said Choi became South Korea's acting president in December after President Yoon Suk-yeol was impeached for his short-lived declaration of martial law on December 3rd. June appeared in court for a preliminary hearing last week on allegations he was attempting to orchestrate a rebellion before a criminal trial. The United States has sided with Russia in votes on 2 United Nations resolutions in Ukraine. The 2 countries on Monday opposed the European-backed UN General Assembly resolution condemning Moscow's war in Ukraine. In the UN Security Council (UNSC), they both then approved the US-backed resolution calling for a swift end to the conflict that avoided labeling Russia as the aggressor or acknowledging US territorial integrity. The United Kingdom and France, which have permanent seat on the UNSC, alongside the US as well as Russia and China, abstained from the second vote. So did non-permanent members Denmark, Greece and Slovenia. The votes, which came on the 3rd anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, illustrates once more the deepening divide among Western allies as President Donald Trump overturns US support for Ukraine, signaling a departure from long-standing foreign policy. The Trump administration has sidelined Kyiv in Europe as it has launched talks with Moscow on a potential peace deal. The White House has revoked a key policy order linking arms sales to international law and human rights, according to reports. United States President Donald Trump ordered the key policy to be scrapped. The order, signed by Trump's predecessor Joe Biden amid concerns over Israel's action during its war on Gaza, was aimed at preventing U.S. arms sales from contributing to human rights abuses abroad. The sources said National Security Advisor Mike Waltz had issued a memo formalizing the decision. National Security Memorandum 20, signed by Biden in February 2024, required assurances weapons would not be used in violation of international humanitarian law. The measure was viewed as a response to a growing concern that Israel was committing human rights violation amid its bombardment of Gaza. The memorandum was one of the few remaining Biden policies addressing the conflict. All mention of the memorandum has been scrapped from the White House website, while searches resulting in a 404 error. Still on the international scene, Pakistan has unveiled a new policy to tackle violent extremism using an unlikely bouquet of tools, including school curriculum changes, religion and social media outreach, in addition to military tactics at a time when deadly armed attacks are surging. However, many analysts caution that the plan is too ambitious, thin on details and difficult to execute under the overall leadership of an army attuned to using military forces as its primary weapon. Some experts argue that the National Prevention of Violent Extremism Policy, as the new plan is called, is in effect old wine in a new bottle. The latest policy, released for public view last week, comes at a time of escalating violence, particularly in the northwestern province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and the southwestern province of Balochistan. According to figures from the Center for Research and Security Studies (CRSS), an Islamabad-based think tank, 2024 was the deadliest year in nearly a decade for Pakistan. The data revealed that 2,526 people were killed in attacks last year, including nearly 700 security personnel, more than 900 civilians, and approximately 900 armed Syria's de facto leader reiterated his pledge to deliver a democratic political transition as talks on the country's future opened. Ahmed al-Shara on Tuesday urged his countrymen to unite and pledge to establish a transitional justice body as a welcome participant of a national dialogue aimed at guiding the country's political transition following years of civil war and the fall of former President Bashar al-Assad. He also said the state will hold the monopoly on weapons, a key issue in a country in which numerous armed groups have spent recent years fighting. The meeting in the country's capital, Damascus, was built by al-Shara and his ruling Ayat Tahrir al-Sham at a chief milestone to a democratic and inclusive transition and state reconstruction. However, there is concern that the process has been rushed. About 600 candidates are attending the talks and will participate in a packed agenda for the single day of working sessions. The participants will hold working sessions on transitional justice, the structure of a new constitution, reforming and building institution, personal freedoms, the role of civil society, and the country's economy. Lastly, on the international scene, young Germans lean to the far ends of the political spectrum in Sunday's election, with most backing Die Linke, the left, and the far-right Alternative for Deutschland AfD, Alternative for Germany, while Germany's Christian Democrat Union CDU party secured more than 28% of the vote overall, winning the federal election and defeating incumbent Chancellor Olaf Scholz's Social Democrats SDP. Few young Germans threw the support behind its leader, 69-year-old Friedrich Merz. The AfD came in second overall with 20%, the biggest for a right-wing party since the Second World War. The left, popular with the youth, scored 8.7%, an unexpected result seen as a success as earlier polls estimated a lower number of backers. The stakes were high. A record-breaking 83.5% of the people cast their vote, the highest turnout since German unification in 1990. Merz is likely to become chancellor, but he's set to